Listen to me very carefully. Your muscle mass and your strength are one of the strongest predicators of how long you will live. Not your zodiac sign, not the fact that you drink warm lemon water when you wake up in the morning, not the fact that you drink detox and slimming teas. What indicates how long and how well you will live is muscle. A lot of people go around proudly saying that they don't want to go to the gym and lift weights. They just want to be skinny. And congratulations, you are training for aesthetics and you're ignoring survival. And whether you like it or not, your body doesn't care if you want to be skinny. Your body cares about one thing. Can you survive stress? And muscle is one of the biggest answers to that question. So let's talk about it. This is not motivation. This is not a gym influencer's talk. This is biology. This is reality. This is your future. Now, first, let me clear something up because this is not gym bro science. This is backed by actual research. Study after study has shown that low muscle mass, low grip strength, and poor physical strength are strongly linked to higher risk of early death. Not later, not maybe, but earlier. So from things like heart disease, diabetes, metabolic disorders, falls, fractures, and just general frailty. And the part that shocks a lot of people is that you can be slim, you can be light, and you can even look healthy and still be at a higher risk of dying earlier, because you looking healthy and you looking strong, they're not the same thing. Some of you are walking around looking like before and after transformations, but internally your body is buffering. You have little to no strength, no reserve, no backup system. So when life hits you, when you have a small illness, when you have an injury, when you have stress, your body checks out because it doesn't have the resources to navigate those things. And that is a problem. Now let's talk about muscle itself, because people think that muscle or having lean muscle mass is just for aesthetics and just for having a nice looking body. A lot of you think that having muscle is just for taking gym selfies, wearing crop tops, and posting progress photos. Meanwhile, the entire time your body is looking at your muscle mass like it is a survival equipment. So muscle is not just decoration. Muscle is a metabolic organ. It helps regulate your blood sugar, improves your insulin sensitivity, it stores glucose, it supports your hormones, it protects your joints, it stabilizes your bones, and it helps you recover from illnesses faster. So muscle is literally your body's armor. It's your body's protective shield. So when you don't have enough muscle, your body is literally exposed. So you're walking around with no protection and you're saying, well, at least I'm skinny, at least I'm slim, at least I don't have excess body weight, at least I'm not fat. But the moment life tests your body, that slimness will not help you carry anything, and not even your own body weight. Now, let me introduce you to something very important: sarcopenia. I've said it here on my channel many times before, but if you haven't heard it before, don't worry. This is not a new skincare product. This is age-related loss of muscle mass and strength. And guess when it starts? In your 30s. So yes, in your 30s, not your 60s, not when you're at retirement age, not when you have grandchildren. It starts in your 30s and it accelerates in your 50s and your 60s and beyond. So what does this mean? It means that if you are not actively building muscle now, if you're not actively building muscles by the time you hit your 30s, you will begin to lose muscle mass. So even if you feel fine, even if you look fine, even if you can still run small errands and say you're okay, your body is slowly reducing its capacity. And the scary part is, or the part that will shock most of you, people don't just die of old age. They become weak at first. They lose their strength, they lose balance, they fall, they break a hip or two, they stop moving, and they lose independence. And once movement is thrown out of the window, everything else will follow. So your health collapses like bad Wi-Fi. Now, this next part, people don't really like it, but I have to say it. Your strength, your physical strength, is oftentimes a better predicator of how long you will live, and not your body weight. So yes, not your BMI, not the weight that you see on the scale, not the fact that you wear an extra small, but your strength. There are people who have been skinny or who've been thin their entire lives, and they've never lifted anything heavier than their handbags. But they're weak, no muscle, no resilience. And when life hits them, illnesses, like I said, injuries, their body cannot cope. Meanwhile, someone slightly heavier but stronger, they have better survival because their body has capacity. Their body has reserve. Their body has something to work with. So the goal is not just to be light, but it's to be capable. Now, this part, I want to talk directly to the women for just a second, because this part is pretty personal. Women who don't want to lift weights because they're scared that they're going to look masculine. They're scared that, they're going to develop too much muscle, so they would rather just be slim. They would rather just be skinny. You need to retire that mentality immediately. You being slim is not the equivalent of you being strong. Slim is not protection, and slim is not longevity. Being slim is a look. And that's it. Your body does not care about a look when it's trying to survive an illness, when it's trying to survive an injury, or when it's going through its aging process. And let me say this very clearly. You do not die from having thick thighs. You do not die from having muscle mass. You die from having no strength to support your body. Muscle does not make women bulky. Unless you're planning on not being a natural, then muscle itself does not just make women bulky. Because if that was the case, if just going to the gym and by merely lifting 3 to 4 or 5 times a week, if muscle itself made you bulky, then every guy in the gym would be walking around with big shoulders and big arms. There are people who are looking to be bulky, and they still haven't gotten to that point, and they've been training for years. Muscle is not that easy to put on. Muscle is what makes you strong. It's what makes you independent. It makes you harder to break. And now I want to talk about cardio, because a lot of people will say, oh, but I walk every day. I go for runs, I run on a treadmill, and all those things are wonderful. Keep doing those things. Walking is great. Cardio is important, but cardio alone is not enough. Cardio does not build significant muscle mass, and cardio does not prevent muscle loss long term, and cardio does not maintain strength as you age. You need weights. You need some sort of resistance, something that will force your body to tell itself that it needs to get stronger. So if you're the type of person who all you do is cardio, if cardio makes up 85-90% of your training exercise routine, then you are neglecting one of the most important systems in your body. It's like you building a house, but you completely ignore the foundation. Okay, so the house might look nice, but eventually it's going to collapse. So what should you actually be doing? You don't have to do anything extreme. You don't need to do anything complicated. You don't need to try and become a bodybuilder, and you don't need to live inside of a gym, but you do need to do things that are intentional. So you should aim to lift weights 2 to 4 times a week. Also, train your full body. This doesn't mean going to the gym 2 to 3, 4 times a week and your training split is a full body workout every single day of, the days that you're training. Have a training split. Have a dedicated day where you're targeting your legs, your back, your chest. Focus on basic movements, push, pull, squats, hinge. Also eat enough protein. And you want to be sleeping properly. Sleep like your life depends on it, because generally it actually does. And most importantly, you need to be consistent. So your routine should not just be done when you feel like it. It shouldn't be done when motivation comes, because muscle is something that is built slowly, but it can be lost very quickly. Now let's close this properly. Muscle is not optional. It shouldn't be optional for you. Strength is not optional. And resistance training should also not be optional. These things should be a non-negotiable for you. If you are someone who is avoiding building muscle, then you are choosing to be fragile. And fragility does not age well, because muscle doesn't just change how you look. It changes how your body functions, changes how you age, and yes, it changes how you live your life, and it changes how long you live. So the next time that you're thinking, oh, I'll just start my fitness journey later, remember that your future body is being built right now. The foods that you eat, the workouts you don't do, the activities that you don't partake in, you're building your future body. So do yourself a favor, go and lift something, not for Instagram, not because fitness is trendy right now, but because your life literally depends on it. And that is it for the video. Let me know your thoughts down below in my comments, and I will see you guys in my next one.